Hi, my name is Robyn Read. I'm 29 years old and I made a commitment to make a big difference in the lives of students who attend schools in the TDSB. It's a decision that I made based on what I'd been through and what I had overcome. My entire childhood was one huge struggle, and I hate to think of where I would have ended up if it hadn't been for the help of others. So today I'd like to talk to you about how you too are making a big difference in the lives of your fellow students by supporting the TFSS. But first, let me share with you my story and why I think it's so important to help. I was just 3 years old when my parents divorced. My father took custody of my sister and I, but he was an abusive alcoholic. And we lived with this for 6 years until the courts removed us from the home and sent us to live with our mother and stepfather. I remember how excited my sister and I were to escape such a terrible situation, not knowing that our situation was about to get a lot worse. My stepfather was even more abusive than my father, and he was unemployed. My mother only earned minimum wage, and so my family lived in poverty. We often went without breakfast or lunch, sometimes both. If it wasn't for our local food bank, I don't think we would have survived. As I entered high school, all I wanted to do was to try and appear as normal as possible and fit in with the crowd. I didn't want anyone to know that we hardly had any food in the house or that I was sent to my room the second that I got home from school. Many days, getting lunch was my biggest challenge. I used to ask friends for spare change, just a quarter each, so that they wouldn't expect me to pay them back, until I finally had enough money to buy a plate of fries. On other days, when the hunger became unbearable, I'm ashamed to admit that sometimes I would shoplift candy bars just to make it through. These weren't happy times, but I learned to deal with it the best that I could. When I was 15, my parents split, and when I was 16, my mom called me into her room and told me that she could no longer handle the pressures of being a mother. She told me she was moving out and leaving my sister and me on our own. I was just starting grade 12, and I was now totally responsible for my younger sister. It was an unbelievable struggle. The worst part of the situation was the sense of isolation that I felt. I was ashamed and embarrassed to be poor. I tried everything to hide my poverty and pretend that I was just like everybody else. I didn't think that anyone could understand what I was going through. I honestly thought that only children in places like India and Africa had to deal with the challenges like I was. Yet, as it turns out, I was one of the lucky ones. Lucky because I had the support of some amazing teachers who found ways to help me. And if it wasn't for the support that I received at school, I don't know what would have happened to my sister and me. I worked hard, and I simply refused to quit, and that's why I was able to make it through. I graduated from high school, and then from university, and eventually, I earned my master's degree. Along the way, I've learned that my childhood experience was far from unique in Canada. In Toronto alone, more than 1/3 of all children live in poverty like I did. But unlike me, so many of these children can't overcome their situation. They don't make it through school, and they struggle with poverty for the rest of their lives. After all I've been through, I decided that I had to try and make a difference for these children. And so, I joined the Toronto Foundation for Student Success to help Toronto students, just like you're doing. The TFSS is the charitable foundation for the Toronto District School Board, and it exists to help students overcome poverty and give them a real chance at success. Nobody knew the challenges I was facing every day, and that's the point that I want to make to you now. You're probably unaware of friends or fellow students that are also doing a great job of hiding their situation just like I did. And if it's not at your school, it's a student at a school close by that is facing tremendous hardships every day. You may never meet or know the students that need your help, but I can guarantee you that those students are out there. I believe that no child should have to endure what I experienced, and that everyone deserves the opportunity to succeed in school. You can play a big role in making that a reality for many students. Every dollar that you collect through fundraising goes back to help a TDSB student in need. By assisting the foundation, you could be providing free breakfast, lunch, and snacks to hungry students, Or you could be putting money into the emergency fund so that teachers can help struggling students like me. You will be supporting programs to help students reach their full potential in the classroom and helping to break that cycle of poverty. Remember, as long as people like you are willing to help, there's hope. Thank you.